Our first inductee, as a young gymnast coming up, I didn't get to meet him too many times, but we've crossed paths a few times, and I kind of, I'd say, I think that's him, because at least 3 or 4 times as a young gymnast coming up, I'd have older gymnasts tell me, man, I wish you could just be around in like the Culhane days. Yeah. And it was almost like I was just never going to be that cool, you know? And I was like, really? Really? So you're a legend already, Jim James Culhane. So please welcome our first inductee to the USA Gymnastics Hall of Fame, Jim James Culhane.
James Jim Culhane. Culhane, who competed for 19 years from 1957 to 76, was a member of the 1972 U.S. Olympic team and the 1971 Pan American Games team. In 1968, he finished 7th at the Olympic trials. He competed in the AAU and U.S. Gymnastics Federation National Championships from 1965 to 75 and was a member of the U.S. national team for 11 years. Culhane competed in collegiate gymnastics for Pennsylvania State University, winning the team championship in 1965. He went on to graduate at Southern Connecticut State College. He served as an assistant coach at both Southern Connecticut and the U.S. Military Academy, as well as the head women's coach at East Stroudsburg State College and California State University at Northridge. He is a retired teacher and currently teaches boys gymnastics at Texas Star Gymnastics. He most recently helped set a world record for the largest formation of skydivers over 60. Ladies and gentlemen, James Jim Culhane.
Thank you all. When I first got the information that I was going to be indicted, I looked and I said, what did I do wrong now? And I looked more closely and I said, inducted. Oh, okay, good, I'm safe. I look at the accomplishments of my fellow inductees and I think, I must be the most gifted athlete here. You know? My fellow inductees have a mere 50-some gold medals that they have accomplished. I've got 1 gold medal from Penn State Team Championship, NC2A. I look at all the people here and I say, I am truly gifted to be honored with this induction to the Hall of Fame. It's my understanding that the committee looked at my recent hospitalizations for smashing myself into the ground skydiving, and they said, well, he can't run anymore. He can't tumble anymore. You know, I guess we can take a chance on inducting him, and maybe he'll keep his clothes on. So, yeah, probably. I have to do that. I set my goal when I was about 10 years old to compete in the Olympic Games. There was a guy named Bob Richards who medaled in 48, 52, and 56 Olympics in pole vaulting. I was pole vaulting in my backyard when I was about 10 years old, and I think I must have seen something about this guy Richards, and I thought that was pretty cool. So when I freshman year in high school, I went out for the track team, and the coach says, go with that guy over there and learn how to stand on your hands. So that was my introduction to gymnastics. The next year, the school started a gymnastics program, and I went out for it. I had some success, and I liked it. This was a fun sport. My sophomore year, I won the little novice championships, and my high school coach said, well, you should come to the Labor Lyceum, which was a Turner's type organization in Rochester. He said, you should come there and work out. And I begged my parents to let me go. And I went there and I met this guy, Attila Farkas, Jim Farkas, who escaped from Hungary in '56 And he was in Rochester, New York, and I was gifted again to be coached by him for a year before he moved on to Milwaukee Turners, where he coached Fred Roethlisberger and some other guys who were on world championship teams and other great coaches in the United States. You know, Farkas was a very, very big influence on me. I was at his house one night, well, to go back to the Labor Lyceum, where after we worked out, we would go downstairs to the Rathskeller. And I thought, this is a fun sport. You know, you work out a little bit, and then you go downstairs and have a beer. And the legal drinking age was 18 in the state of New York at that time, and I was only a couple years off that, so it wasn't really anything too illegal. But it was fun. Try not to drag this on too much, but on and on. I enjoyed gymnastics. I decided I was going to compete in college. Penn State won the NCAA championships my senior year in high school, so I said that's where I wanted to continue my gymnastics. My senior year in college, Penn State won the NCAA championships. I was fortunate enough to make a team that summer that went to Vienna for a Gymnastrada. A.B. Grossfeld, I didn't need to say his last name, did I? You all know A.B. A.B. asked me if I would like to be his graduate assistant the next year. So I was fortunate enough to be able to go on to graduate school and work out with some great athletes. Don Tonry, all of the athletes at Southern Connecticut, A.B. Doris Brous was from Rochester, New York. She was then living in New Haven, Connecticut. This woman was on, I believe, 64 Olympic team, maybe 60 and maybe 56. And she was doing giant swings on the men's horizontal bar way before any of the women thought about doing giant swings on the uneven bars. After graduate school at Southern Connecticut, I was in the Army for a couple of years, and fortunately I was stationed at West Point, where, again, I could train and continue trying to improve myself in gymnastics. There are a lot of people that I would like to thank for their leadership, for their example. I was not an innovator. I could never have invented a new trick in gymnastics. But when I saw somebody else do it, sometimes I could work hard enough to learn it myself. You know, I want to thank every coach that I ever coached with, every athlete that I ever worked out with, you know, and specifically the boy named J.C. Ho, who was my first state champion in Houston. Jonathan Horton was my last state champion when I had my own gym. Kerry Houston, the best elite athlete that I ever coached. Reese Rickett, one of my last level 6 state and regional champions. I would like to thank every young man who ever walked into my gym and helped to inspire me to work a little bit harder. I would like to thank Bo Morris, John Basil, Rumen Yordanov, coaches who worked for me and who I hope I had some influence on them, and they certainly influenced my program in a very positive manner. I'd like to thank all of the judges who turned a blind eye and gave me the benefit of the doubt at times with some of the routines. It's been a great ride so far. I only regret that I can't demonstrate as much as I would like to for some of the athletes that I am working with. Last but not least, I want to thank Fred Turoff for nominating me. I want to thank the United States Army for assigning me to West Point in 1969 instead of Vietnam. In coming full circle, from my roots as a pole vaulter beginning that got me into gymnastics, I am now training pole vaulters in Houston, teaching them gymnastic skills to help with their pole vaulting. I've got a young lady who, at 5'3", she won the state championships jumping 12'6". A young man who represented the United States in Singapore last year at the Youth Olympics. He won the state championship this year, jumping 16.9. 2 weeks later, he jumped 17.7, 17.5. And they are such good athletes. It is so amazing, and it just pleases me greatly to be able to still help kids get a little bit better, one step at a time. Thank you very much.